What's up everyone? It's me, it's Jinsula. Hope you're having a good day, and welcome to another Pokemon Go raid guide video. Today, I'll be telling you how to defeat what is arguably the best of the Swords of Justice Pokemon, and I'm of course talking about Terrakion. The highly coveted shiny version of this Pokemon is also available, and I'm going to be telling you how to get it. Right, so let's roll the intro and get right into it. Okay, let's talk about how you can defeat Terrakion and pick up its shiny form. So this raid boss is not often in raid battles, but it is one you should prioritize whenever it is. The reason for that is because it is often seen as the best Swords of Justice Pokemon for raid battles and gym battles. The reason for that is because Terrakion with Sacred Sword is one of the best fighting type Pokemon in the game, as it deals the most damage over time among all fighting type non-mega and non-shadow Pokemon. It is also one of the most sought after shinies in the game. Thus, players will often try to stock up on its shiny form specifically for lucky trades with their friends. I'll go over how you can get Terrakion's shiny form later in the video, but first, I'll go over Terrakion's counters and details. The good thing is that Terrakion is actually easier than most legendary raid bosses, and it can easily be done with just 2 high level trainers even without any damage boosts. So, let's go over how you can do that. Terrakion is a rock and fighting type legendary Pokemon. It has a ton of weaknesses and resistances due to its typing. Its weaknesses include Fairy, Fighting, Grass, Ground, Psychic, Steel, and Water. It also has resistances to Bug, Dark, Fire, Normal, Poison, and Rock. Terrakion doesn't have a double weakness or double resistance, but since it is easy to defeat, it doesn't really matter. Now, even though it has a plethora of different weaknesses, the one type you should bring is going to be Psychic types. This is because the best raid attacker Pokemon currently in the game are actually Psychic, or they have Psychic type attacks in their arsenal. In terms of what the best counters are for Terrakion, they will include Shadow Mewtwo with Confusion and Psystrike, Mega Alakazam with Psycho Cut and Psychic, Mega Latios with Zen Headbutt and Psychic, Unbound Hoopa with Confusion and Psychic, Terrakion with Double Kick and Sacred Sword, and Kartana with Razor Leaf and Leaf Blade. Basically speaking, you should use your Shadow Mewtwo's and a whole bunch of your regular Mewtwo's. Make sure you give them Psychic type attacks, specifically Confusion and Psystrike. Of course, Psystrike is a legacy move that will require elite charge TMs, but you could be just as good with Psychic instead. Regardless, just have a full team of Mewtwo's with Psychic type attacks and you'll be good to go. Because Terrakion leans more on attack rather than defense, it is actually quite easy to take down. If you and another trainer have an army of Mewtwo's that are at least level 35, then you will be able to defeat it even without any damage bonuses like Mega Evolutions or Weather Boosts. Speaking of which, if you want to comfortably defeat Terrakion, or you are a lower level trainer, then join a raid with at least 3 to 5 trainers in the lobby. Next, let's talk about budget counters. If you don't have good Mewtwo's or you don't have the Stardust and Candy to max them out, then you could go with Metagross with Steel type attacks, Lucario with Fighting type attacks, Conkeldurr with Fighting type attacks, and Espeon with Psychic type attacks. These are the budget friendly counters you could use against Terrakion. Now, if you're looking for perfect IVs for Terrakion, you will want to encounter one with a CP of 2113. If it's weather boosted, it'll be 2641. Terrakion's weather boosts are cloudy weather and partly cloudy weather, so if you want a weather boosted Terrakion, then make sure you go out and raid when it is either of these weather types. Fortunately, both of these weather types are fairly common, so getting a weather boosted Terrakion should be easy. However, if you want a weather boost that will boost your own Pokemon's damage, then more than likely you will want to go with windy weather, as it increases the damage of Psychic types. Since there are so many weaknesses with Terrakion, you could really go with any type that caters to the current weather boost, and you should be okay. If it's rainy weather, go with a water type Mega Evolution with a bunch of water types. If it's sunny or clear, go with grass types. Since Terrakion is so relevant for raid battles, you will for sure want to go for that perfect IV. As I stated before, this Pokemon is currently one of the best non-mega and non-shadow fighting types with the move Sacred Sword, so make sure you farm it up whenever it is in raids. Finally, let's talk about how you can get that shiny form for this Pokemon. Now, it's pretty straightforward. You basically need to raid as many Terrakion raids as you can. The rate at which it could be shiny will be the common shiny rate for raids, which is 1 in 20, or 5%. that doesn't mean you are guaranteed to get a shiny if you do 20 raids. Rather, imagine coloring one side of a 20-sided dice and rolling it every time you complete a raid. You could get lucky and get the shiny right away, or it could take you several raids before you get it. So make sure you temper your expectations. The more raids you do, the higher your chances at getting the shiny form of this Pokemon will be. Typically, if there is a raid boss with a shiny form that I want, I will typically do about 5 to 10 raids a day, and about 15 raids on Wednesday raid day. On a given week, I typically walk away with about 3 shinies of the raid boss. Thus, if you want this particular shiny, make sure you raid as much as you can. I would first communicate to your friends and Discord communities that you're interested in this Pokemon. See if you can get others to remote raid invite you as much as they can. Since you don't need too many trainers in order to defeat it, you could easily farm up this shiny if you are actively seeking out raids. Of course, the alternative way to get shiny Terrakion is through a trade with one of your friends. However, if you have not registered this shiny in your Pokedex, the Stardust cost for that trade will be astronomically high, which your friend may not be willing to pay. Your best bet is to do as many raids as you can in order to get it. Once you do, you can mirror trade with a lucky friend in order to get one with possibly better IVs. Currently, there's no other way to get the shiny form of Terrakion. I totally recognize that most of you will think of this as common knowledge, but I still wanted to mention it because there are new players every day. After all, this is a high value shiny compared to most other legendaries, so it is definitely worth spending a bunch of passes on. Even if you're more of a battler instead of a raider, you should still try to get a bunch of these so that you can use them as a trade chip. Since plenty of players will want this particular shiny for lucky trades, it will be good to have a few on hand. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. Now, I would love to know if you have yourself a really good shiny Terrakion. Also, let me know where in the game you are using this Pokemon. Say so down below in the comments and let's have a great discussion. And if you ended up enjoying this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And don't forget that little bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support my channel in any way, big or small, then be sure to check out the links in the description below. For all my patrons, they get a permanent spot on my in-game friends list. So if you want to interact with me in some way, like with remote raids, then do consider becoming a patron on my Patreon. But yeah, that's going to be it. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you all later.